like to welcome you here tonight. We're just a couple of minutes away from getting started. Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then Jim Reed will bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we ask you to be with this council tonight so that we make wise decisions for the citizens of Springdale. Ask you to be with our government, dear God, in the country. Be with our country. Dear God, just be with our troops wherever they're at in this world. And thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. These things we pray in Jesus' precious holy name. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. All right, let me again welcome you to tonight's regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, June 13th, 2017. We do have large print agendas. Brad's pointing them to them there if that would be beneficial to anyone. And with that said, I'll ask our city clerk to start things off by calling the roll.
Mayor Sprouse?
Here.
Rick Culver?
Here.
Jeff Watson? Here. Mike Overton? Colby Fulfer?
Here.
Mike Lawson?
Here.
Rick Evans?
Here.
Jim Reed?
Here.
Kathy Jaycox?
Here.
Ernest Cate?
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum, and we've had our roll call. This is the point, we're at item 4, the portion of each meeting that our council sets aside for comments from our residents. If we have any residents that would like to address the council, we ask that you please come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address, and we ask that you keep your comments brief and understand that we won't be taking action on anything you have to present to us tonight. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, approval of minutes. Council, if there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
If none, so moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item 6, procedural motions. What's your pleasure, council?
Move for A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for options A and B. Roll call, please.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 7-0.
All right. We will now move on to item 7. That's our Health, Sanitation, and Property Maintenance Committee report and recommendations. Chairman is Jim Reed. Jim?
This is an ordinance that ordering and raising demolition and removal of certain residential structure within the city of Springdale, Arkansas, located at 3525 Butterfield Coach Road and 3585 Butterfield Coach Road, and declare emergency for other purposes. This item was tabled from the 314 meeting, and Tom's going to speak to us about it.
Good evening, council. How are you tonight?
Good.
I did speak with Cliff Fleming, who is one of the owners of these two properties, yesterday. He called me early afternoon to tell me he believes they're ready to go. I told him I'd like to go look at them one time to see that they're done, but he never did call me back again today. He's still
ready to go.
ready to be done off of the demolition list. He's finished everything.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
how I took it to be.
Okay.
Of course, he's in Arizona. He's not here. So Mike and I, at one point today, drove out there and looked at them. There's still broken windows, which I brought some pictures I took of 5 o'clock, 5:15 tonight. And that's just of the 3525 address, and that's all I need to see that it's not completed.
You said he's the owner of one of these properties?
He's owner of both of them with his wife.
Oh, I thought you said one of them.
Yeah, he's one of the owners, yes.
Oh, one of the owners, okay.
You know, and I'm not going to say he's not done things on both. He has worked on several items. But I mean, I just don't know.
When did you begin
These I
following
started
this property?
April 21st of 2016 on both of them. And I've dealt with these properties many times in the past, so.
I think one thing would help if I like seeing these pictures, but I'd also like to see a picture of the whole property.
Sure.
Haven't you brought this to us before?
Just the first time I brought it to you was the last time when we tabled
When
it.
we tabled it.
Which was when?
April, I believe.
Yeah, and the property owner was here, was he not?
It was.
He was here that
314.
night, yes. And I don't believe even a representative was here tonight.
Tabled to give him
Time to complete the list that I provided him originally.
And did he?
No.
We tabled this in March the 14th.
And he called you and acted like he had completed the list?
Well, he told me that's what he was told, that everything was done, and he's in Arizona.
Oh, like he had someone doing the work?
Correct. But I mean, like, you know, just on that list alone, I mean, a lot of these things, you know, I asked him to, you know, cut saplings that were impacting the structure. There's still saplings impacting the structure.
There's a lot of paint peeling, but I don't think you tear
Right.
the house
I
down.
wouldn't tear a house down just for a paint peeling. No, I wouldn't. But I mean, at the same time, it didn't just start peeling in the last 2 months, you know. I mean, it was addressed on here to paint it, to put in the new storm window that's busted, or remove the storm door completely at the front door. There's a picture there that shows my hand clearly in the door.
Was there any problems when you were here in March with the inside of the house?
I've actually never been in this house.
Okay, you've never been inside?
Correct. So,
Would you hazard to get, and I hate to put you in this position, it's probably not fair, and if it's not, just don't answer it. But since it was tabled until today, I mean, has there been a significant expenditure monetarily by the property owner to try and come into compliance?
I don't know about significant, but he has addressed some of the health issues as far as the septic system that was completely failed on the 3585 address, and he has upgraded the electrical on the 3585
Is somebody living there?
address. Neither one of them are occupied, so.
Wasn't there another individual, though, that was there?
He lives in the middle unit that's also owned by these same people who was their representative. and
Oh, he was here last time.
Yeah, he was here last time to say how he felt everything was good. He's also the same individual who called me several years ago when he didn't have heat at his own house and wanted me to get involved.
That was the electric, running the extension cord.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Tom, have these been vacant for a while?
not, well, since last year. You know, the one at 3525 became some sort of a issue with deputies or whatever, and they had taken the gentleman out of the house, and that's when I got involved. And since he hadn't finished cleaning up this other house, I just went ahead and started working on both of them, thinking this might get more attention to get it done, you know. And I don't think that I would ask you honestly to say, let's tear it down at this point, but I would like to say, let's get him on the time frame that if we're gonna do it in 30 days, I can tell him tomorrow that in 30 days, if this isn't done, then you're gonna give me the authorization to do it, or.
Well, that's
if you
kind of
want-
what we told him in March.
So if we go ahead and pass this ordinance tonight, he still gets that 30 days, doesn't he?
Yes.
Can we, if we pass this ordinance, can we rescind this ordinance later if we need to?
Well, it just gives him the authority to tear it down. It doesn't mean he's required to tear it down.
It doesn't
Doesn't mean he
mandate
can
it.
go in and finish fixing it up and.
Correct. He could still rehabilitate it within that time period.
Right.
So all the ordinance is doing is giving Tom permission to tear it down.
Correct.
And any time in the past, if we have gone that route, that a person is getting it done, I always check with Ernest's office before I even start the bidding process to see if any communications have been made with him to ask for leniency or more time, or that they come into compliance. So
So it's not too, if the council votes to do this, if you vote to do it without an emergency clause, that's 60 days.
right.
Then my only concern, and it goes back to my question, is, and you know, if this gets torn down and he hadn't done everything, it's, you know, it's fair to say it's his own fault.
Correct.
But if he has spent,
He has, I'm sure
I
the
hate to
septic
tear down
system.
stuff that he's just spent money to.
Sure,
to
sure.
do, even if he hasn't done all he's supposed to do.
But Doug, to that point, I haven't been over there, so the surrounding residences, are they in similar
You know, the
condition?
middle resident that he also owns with these 3 residents is in much better shape because for whatever reason at that time, he complied to painting and fixing broken windows and getting the HVAC. It was occupied, so he got it done. These, you know, this one at 3585 was occupied when I first red tagged it, but the lady had no water, she didn't have a working sewer system, septic system, and she wasn't paying for her electric, she had no electric. That's what got it red tagged to start with, you know, and that's when I decided, since I've dealt with these properties many times in the past, let's see if we can put something else behind this to maybe he would understand, let's get these things cleaned up.
How long has this gentleman owned these properties?
Oh, I mean, I can tell you, over 10 years, I know for sure. Since at least 2001. Yeah, 2001, they bought them. So,
And he's in Arizona, where does he live?
I'm assuming he does live in Arizona, so.
He was here.
He did come, he did show up at the meeting last time, yes, sir.
Did you make him any promise? You spoke to him on the phone today?
I spoke with him yesterday.
Yesterday, did you make any promises to him or assurances to him?
No, I made no promises that I would, voluntarily go over, but I did because I do feel that it's my obligation to go and
He
look.
told you it's all fine.
Right.
You didn't say, great, okay, everything's good, don't worry about it or anything like that.
Nope, I told him, I says, well, are you gonna call me before and let me go look at it? And then he's like, well, I'll call my representative and he'll call you today, which as of today, I've not had any phone calls. And I left the office at 5:40, nobody's called me. But like I said, Mike and I went over there mid-afternoon, and then I wanted to, in case his representative showed up, to say that everything was done, to show you that there's broken windows. I mean, a lot of property maintenance issues still remain,
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we pass this ordinance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and I want to make sure there's no one here to speak on behalf of this property owner?
Could I
Okay.
ask one more question, Doug?
Sure.
Tom, did you call him or did he call you?
He called me yesterday,
So he had been notified, so he was aware of this meeting tonight
correct?
and the consequences of,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
Any other-
I have no problem either, whatever you pass, whether you want to give him 6 more months, you want to give him 30 days or 60 days. I will call him tomorrow and I will tell him this needs to be 100% complete within that 30 or 60-day time frame.
Right.
And I think he probably can achieve it, but I don't know that we want to just keep giving him
Right.
60 days,
and my
so.
concern is because of the surrounding properties, because they have an investment that they need to be protected too.
That's why I went ahead
And-
This
and
needs
I'm-
to have an end to it.
But there needs to be an end game, so
Right.
that it's clear that if
Well,
it's 60 days, he's got
If we
60
pass
days.
the ordinance, will he think that there's a date certain?
Oh, I'll tell him the date certain, and then I
There
think he
be
will
like
achieve
30
it.
days or what?
I'll
Depends
go
on whether or
on,
not we pass the emergency clause or not, Jeff.
We'll also mail him a copy of the ordinance.
What?
We'll also mail him a copy of the ordinance with correspondence telling him it's been passed.
But then, I guess what I'm saying is I don't want him to just throw up his hands and say, well, I'm not going to do anything. I mean, if he wants to fix it, will he be aware that he still?
he's not the kind of person that will throw up his hands, but he's the kind of person that needs to have an absolute deadline. And that's what I'm looking to give him,
So
so
whether that date,
It's-
if this passes, whether that date is 30 or 60 days,
it makes no
then
difference.
you will communicate that with him? and-
Yes, sir, I will call him tomorrow, so.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Denise?
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Fulfer?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 7-0.
This is one I think I'd like to have an emergency clause. I think the guy I think he's had ample time.
Is that a motion?
Yes,
I'll
motion.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the emergency clause.
Jaycox?
Yes.
Culver?
No.
Watson?
Yes.
Fulfer?
No.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Reed?
No.
Emergency clause does not pass, requires 2/3.
Requires 2/3, so, okay. All right, so he's got 60 days.
So Mayor, if I can ask, we would say 60 days really from today, is that gonna be like August, 14th or something like that?
I guess it would. That'd be 60 days
From tomorrow.
from tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say that then. All right, I appreciate it, Council.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. All right, that closes the Health Sanitation Property Maintenance Committee report, and we will move to item 8, the Personnel Committee report and recommendations by Chairman Kathy Jaycox.
And Melissa is stepping forward.
Hello, thank you very much for talking about this tonight. So what this is a resolution. It is doing two things. Number one, it's authorizing the formation of a youth council, and number two, it's approving the bylaws. And I'll tell you a little bit about the youth council, just for the people out there and the people in the audience. So the Springdale Youth Council actually started from Catherine Burkhead. She's a community member who's very active. She's also a member of our Shiloh Museum Board. And she discussed the project earlier with Kathy Jaycox a while ago, and the the idea for it really kind of took off after speaking with Mayor Sprouse, and he decided that was something he thought would be really important to have in Springdale. And so myself, and with the help of a fantastic committee of people, have been working on this over the past few months. And so we put together a program that will help engage young people from grades 10 to 12 in basically local government. And it'll not only teach them about local government, but also give them an opportunity to receive mentorship from elected officials and to help give feedback about issues that matter to young people in our community.
And isn't another point to create leadership within our community and kind of build a
Yes.
foundation as we move forward
Yes, and
as a
it's
city?
yes, and we want to make sure that they know all of the options to serve, should they choose, whether that's volunteering or joining a board or commission or running for office or even just being a city employee. Or we want to make sure that if they want to step up and serve the community, that we let them know all of the options they have available.
Move the resolution pass. Did you read it? Did we
Second.
read it?
All right, and there are a couple points that I want to make really quickly.
Melissa, can I?
Oh,
or
yes.
You can't, would you read it very quickly, the resolution itself?
Oh, yeah, I can read it. A resolution authorizing the formation of a Springdale Youth Council and approving the bylaws for the Springdale Youth Council.
And Jim motioned.
So Jim, you moved to approve,
Yes. And
Okay.
we had a second.
and Rick made the second. Okay. Let me, as a point of discussion, there was early on, Melissa and I had a discussion about the possibility of these, of the youth being chosen per ward. I thought that was a good idea. That's not in here now, and I can go, I'm fine either way. I just didn't know if it helped us to have a more balanced, I mean, there's reasons we do awards, and at the same time, it may eliminate the possibility of some that would really love to be involved. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I'm good either way. There are some things that I like about doing it by ward. And as far as the mentorship, those of you who are going to be involved in that would, you could mentor those that are in your ward.
In the beginning, it was one of the ideas I thought was a good idea was that we did it by wards. We didn't talk about that, Melissa, but
Did the board have any concerns on that? Is there a reason it was left out, or?
Oh, well, I actually haven't had an opportunity to talk to the committee about that.
Okay.
I was thinking that if we did go forward with doing the ward, then we could do 4 students from each of the 4 wards and then have 2 at large.
Okay.
And that may help alleviate some of those concerns. And we would make those decisions on basically on the back end after they apply, since most students aren't going to know what ward they're in. So we'd be able to use their addresses to determine that.
well, maybe we suggest tonight that we move this forward without that included until you can take it back to your board for their review and consideration. And if the bylaws have to be amended, it's a simple thing to do.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
think that would be preferred.
Okay, that'd be fine. So we have a motion and a second. Are there further comments or questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Melissa, thanks for
Melissa.
all your hard work and
Yes.
all those that helped. And I know there's some in this room that have helped a lot on that, and really appreciate it. Wasn't a simple thing, as, I can just say, boy, I'd love to have a youth council, and it sounds simple, but they've done a lot of hard work and really set a good foundation for this. So I'm excited about it, and I think it'll be beneficial to our city, and the youth in our city, but I also think it'll be beneficial. I'm looking forward to my participation in it as far as a mentor. I think I'll really gain some things out of that as well, and I hope all of you do. Item 9, Street and CIP Committee Report and Recommendations. Chairman Rick Evans. Rick?
I went to a meeting last week, Street CIP. We have one resolution on the agenda tonight. It was recommended for approval. It's a resolution expressing the willingness of the city of Springdale to apply for STB GPA funding for acquisition of right-of-way and relocation of franchise utility for 56th Street from Don Tyson Parkway to Johnson Mills Road. And the way it reads, we're basically responsible for 70% of the 20% and Johnson's going to get the rest of it. So basically, we'd be spending $864,000, Johnson $216,000 of the $5.4 million. It's a recommendation for the council.
I'll move the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 10, Planning Commission report and recommendations. Patsy Christie, Director of Planning.
The first item is a recommendation for the Planning Commission to rename the Mill Street Market to the Downtown Springdale Farmers Market. The previous managers of the Mill Street Market had ownership of the name Mill Street Market, and they weren't willing to send it forward, so that's simply all it does, is change the name. Doesn't change the location, the times, or anything else. And it's an ordinance amending Article 6, Section 3.59G of the zoning ordinance of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
Telling me that they owned Mill Street Market?
They own the name, right. And they've registered it and whatever, yeah, so.
Move the ordinance to pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Anyone? Okay,
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
And if you haven't been downtown to the market, I suggest you do. They have great pie, if nothing else. Trust me, the best strawberry rhubarb pie I've had in a long time. So, yeah, free advertisement for that. The next item is a replat of lots 6 and 7 of Diesel Downs. Diesel Downs is that subdivision on the north side of Wagon Wheel Road at the intersection of 49. Replatting lots 6 and 7, making them one lot. It is a project that we have an approved large-scale development plan for it, so it does have an emergency clause. Title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the replat of lots 6 and 7 Diesel Downs to the City of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
okay. Further questions or comments?
Here's the plat if anybody wants to see it. It's 2 lots into one.
Okay, anyone in the audience need to speak to this one? All right, Denise?
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer.
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0. The next item, the resolution on the waiver of street improvements, the applicant has requested that that be tabled to the next council meeting on June 27th. Take action to table it.
We do need to?
I'd like to. just to
Also
have a
move.
record.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table this until our next council meeting. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Tabled 7-0. Thank you.
Okay, you've got item 11 also?
This is an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien for the removal of overgrown brush and debris on property located within the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. Properties located at 515 North Jefferson and 2506 Joe.
Make a motion, ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Anyone here that needs to speak, address these properties? Okay, council, I'm going to ask for the vote then, if there's no other comments.
Culver,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Evans,
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Watson,
Yes.
Wolfer, Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Evans.
Yes, ma'am.
Reed,
Yes.
Jaycox.
Yes.
Culver,
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
All right, item 12, comments from department heads. Anyone? Council? Wow. Everybody's
I
quiet.
will, Mayor.
There we go, okay.
You tell us what's going on with Turnbow Park?
Okay, just an update?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure. Can we go ahead and talk about the date of the opening? The planned opening now is July 4th. So if y'all want to, if you're in town, it'll be somewhere around the middle of the day. Have we set a time? 11?
How did that date come about, Mayor?
How did that date come about? We had several people talk about it then we approached Walter Turnbow with it to make sure it would be an okay date for him.
Okay, was it the Downtown Springdale Alliance that scheduled the date?
Yes, and they asked me about it. They checked with me, and I thought it would be a good idea to have that date.
I agree that we need to do it soon.
Right.
I can give you a little bit more detail if
Okay,
you want.
Sure.
The contract deadline was the middle of the 17th of June. With the rain and stuff that we had, they got an extra 5 days extended on that contract. So that puts us at the 24th. So they were, they're sure they'll be ready by the time. The next weekend was July 1st, and that's when the big car show was downtown. We didn't want to put it off much longer, so we did it on the 4th of July. Because we want to make sure that Walters can be there, and he's been down and looked at it. We talked to him about the date. He was very comfortable with it. There's a lot of pressure put on the construction workers. If you go over there, they're a little stressed, but they'll make it. I mean, they have, I think, a couple more small pours, and then they're ready to start doing the landscaping and stuff. So
Really pretty. Come a long way. I was there this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I'll be out of town. I was a little concerned about the email from the Downtown Springdale Alliance scheduling a meeting on June 20th at the Arts Center. What is our involvement in that?
I'm not sure what email that is. What's happening on the 20th at the Arts Center?
the Downtown Alliance received a grant from the Walton Family Foundation for an open space study.
Oh,
They're
okay.
having
What's the
an open space study for the area from Johnson across the creek, to follow the Greenway all the way to Luther George Park and to look at it as it fit into the master plan and to do an open space study. One of the requirements of that is to have public meetings. That's the first set of public meetings for them to get input from stakeholders and the community as a whole. It's what they see how that kind of stuff can tie together as an implementation of the downtown master plan.
Okay, how's the Downtown Springdale Alliance making plans for our park?
They received the grant to do the study, and they will come forward with input from all of us and from the community, and they will bring forth a recommendation. I mean, it's just a different group looking at it from a different standpoint of what downtown. It has business leaders, it has property owners, it has other stakeholders involved that are very, very involved in what's going on downtown. Rather than the city being the one that plans it, it has more of a grassroots type approach to how that property can be used.
And this is going to affect the Turnbow Park?
Well, if you look at the master plan that we adopted, it shows a reconfiguration of the Turnbow Park. And they're going to look at, what does that mean? I mean, we put it on the master plan. How do we really make it work? Is that what the public really wants to see? It's easy to develop it through the master plan, but you got to pick up the next phase and figure out how you're going to make that work. And that's what this phase is for. Quite honestly, it's a group that has a little bit more time to put into it than we have at the staff level right now, and we all have input in it, but we don't have to manage it. So,
Yeah, we were actually involved in the,
Selection.
Bill and Patsy and I were actually involved in the selection of the of the firm, the landscape architects who will be doing the open space study.
and we had some really good proposals, and it came down to a pretty tough decision as to which group we wanted to bring in to actually do the work for us.
So what kind of work are you talking? You said landscape. Isn't that part of the park now?
Well, it's an open space
It's an open
study.
space study, Jim, and it's going to take into consideration how we could plan for green space, open space, actually from this campus all the way around to Luther George Park to Powell.
So it's not just for Turnbull Park?
No.
No,
The open space
it's-
study is not.
It's not for Turnbow Park. It's if you pick up on Meadow Street and you know that area where the Bank of America drive-through is and where that additional open space that's there, and when you go around to the corner, how do you tie in Tyson's new parking
Yeah.
facility?
Turnbow Park's
and their
about done.
building? Yeah, no, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not to redo Turnbow Park. It has nothing. It's how do we tie that to the other areas in the downtown?
Well, part of it is if you read this right here, the Downtown Springdale Alliance and the City of Springdale invite the public to share ideas for downtown open space, okay?
Yeah.
Well, and the problem with that is first of all, as a council, we weren't told anything about this at all. It's our park. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a city park. And so it's under the Parks Department. And we, I just don't, wasn't sure if that was
Jim, it's part of the grant.
but I understand that. The grant is it a grant that was given that we were even aware of?
It was the Downtown Springdale Alliance secured the grant. The city's, at a staff level, and I was involved, Bill was involved in helping select the firm that was going to do the open space study. It's not asking the city of Springdale, it's not asking you all to do anything right now.
It's giving you a tool to help look at what the public what the public wants, how it could be put together using landscape architects to look at some options for that, and then it'll come back to you as a recommendation. Right. It's just
It's no different than how we did the downtown master plan or the
I understand it better.
or the form-based
Form-based
codes.
I think
I
Jim and I
understand
are
it better
confused
now.
thinking this was specifically talking about Turnbull Park.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm at a disadvantage because I either didn't get that email or didn't read it, so I don't know how that read. So
Well, I guess I'm a little confused as to how Turnbull Park is going to be managed.
we've actually we've put out RFPs or RFQs, Patsy, and didn't get a response, so we're adjusting those. We're talking about the possibility of rather than Public Works or Parks maintaining that. We're talking about, we're going to check and see what it would cost to contract that out. Because our guys are taxed.
And we put out a really extensive RFQ to start with.
Right.
With everything that we think needs to be done. We're in the process of scaling that back, and what can we pick up, what can we have done by somebody else in order to be a cost savings for everybody.
And that was not just for Walter Turnbow Park. That was for the other landscaped areas downtown.
Emmett
that
Street
right
in the
now,
corner, yeah.
Public Works Landscaping Division takes care of.
You're talking about maintenance, though, Doug, and I think Jeff was asking about management.
Management,
Is it going to be through Bill?
we contract with the Downtown Springdale Alliance to manage Shallow Square.
We have?
Yes. That's what we contract with
So
them
why would
for,
we-
to manage downtown events.
To the mayor's point. why would-
Go ahead, Kathy.
I was just going to say, why would we not, since the DSA is coordinating almost every event in the downtown area?
And for every
I
event,
mean,
they
I'm
have.
sure Parks and Rec
yeah.
would be included in those conversations.
They are included in the meetings, so is the chamber, so is Public Works, so is our police department, so is our fire department, and they go through a process when there are events down here. But I can promise you that I don't want to manage them, and I don't think our staff wants to manage them, and I don't think we would do as good a job of managing them as someone that we contract with to do that.
And so that's what you're thinking about, contracting with someone to,
That's separate. I was talking about maintenance there. We have looked at, we are fishing for quotes for maintenance, not only for Turnbow Park, but also for the landscaped areas, other landscaped areas downtown. And if it's cost effective, and, we can continue to put things on our Parks and Rec or our Public Works Landscape Division, but I'm not sure that's the best way to go, and we won't know until we get prices to do otherwise.
I'm not the least bit concerned about that part, Doug. That's-
Okay. All right. Well, did we clarify some things?
I think so. I'm not real sure I totally agree with all of it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we contract with the DSA and to do just these things that we're talking about.
We have a representative from the council. Isn't that you, Rick, that serves on that board?
Yes. Rick serves on the DSA board. I attend, and Patsy also attends as non-voting members, but just as to lend technical support when things come up and they have questions.
I think we've got a meeting this Thursday, if anyone would like to come, 4 o'clock, next to the bank building, the DSA office. And anytime we meet once a month, so I'll keep you all more informed if you'd like.
I'll send an email out on that.
I can do that.
I think it'd be nice if everyone got a reminder.
See if I can get that set up.
Okay, we'll have to notify, because we'll have, I know, we would have 2 councilmen at a meeting, so.
That's true. I forget about that side of politics.
We can sure do it. Do what? Right, but that doesn't change our requirement if we have more than 1 councilman there.
That it can change the conversation.
All right. Any other comments from council? City attorney?
Nope, sir.
I have nothing.
Move to adjourn.
Got a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.